And thank you everyone, alumni and current students, for joining us at, I know it's 10 p.m. and I know a lot of you might have had a lot of laddus for Ganesh Chaturthi. So if you have missed the many emails that we have sent you, I'll just repeat what Prarambh is before we start. So Prarambh is an initiative that um, some of us, the Nirma alumni, we started that with the aim that we want to help you, that is the current students of Nirma, and we want to help you not only with your current life at Nirma, but everything that follows after it. So be it CAT, GATE, GRE, or placements, all of us face certain difficulties. And at that time, we wished that we had someone to guide us and solve our queries, and that's why we want to do that for you so you have an easier time compared to us. We also want to connect you to people or alumni who are working in different fields, in different companies, if we talk about placement, and make an or form an alumni network. um, so before I start anything else, I'll start with who I am. So I'm Mansi. I did mechanical engineering at Nirma and I graduated in 2016. And since then, I've been doing my PhD also in mechanical engineering at the University of Texas at Austin. And I think this is a perfect session for me because I need to start applying for jobs just like you all need to. So I guess we'll get a lot of information from people who already have jobs. So coming back to Prarambh, we know you have a lot of options to know about these things. Like you can look on Quora, you can go on YouTube, but there are certain things that only Nirma people can understand. Like we have that 85% attendance thing, which of course it doesn't matter as much right now in your online sessions. But other things like what companies come to Nirma may or may not be coming to other universities, so we can talk about that. And there are some personal queries sometimes about the work experience, the life experience at companies that you may not be able to get online. So the situation remains the same which it was when I graduated, and this is just an effort to help and mentor you all so that you can get the best possible opportunities. We have already conducted sessions on CAT, that is MBA preparation, a session on MS and GATE, and now this is for the placements because now is the time when all the companies will be coming on campus. So we are also planning other sessions in the future. So there was another question on the chat to answer that. Yes, we will be conducting other sessions. Um, so our today's agenda is that for the first 30 minutes, we'll be answering some common questions that we have had, and alumni will be answering that. And after that, we'll have an open house where you can ask whatever questions you have on the chat, and us, the alumni, will try to answer it as best as possible. A few things. Try to keep your mic on mute, which everyone has right now, unless you are the speaker. Put your questions on the chat. You can start typing your questions now, and we'll be answering them through the session as well as in the open house. And that's it. So I'll introduce you to our today's speakers. So first we have Shail Patel. Shail did his undergrad in Nirma in mechanical engineering. He graduated in 2017. And he is one of those few people who actually cracked their first campus interview, the first one he had, which was at Maruti. And he worked at Maruti for 2 years. And he's currently doing his MBA from NITI. And he just did a summer internship with Deloitte. Then we have Praharsh. So Praharsh finished his undergrad in 2019 in mechanical engineering, and he was working with the Baha team at Nirma. He was the vice captain and the driver. And the interesting thing about Praharsh is that he had really low pointers and he still made it to a core company, which is Suzuki Motors, and he's working there right now. So he will be answering a, a lot of questions that you might have about what to do if you have low pointers or if you have backlogs or IFs. Then third, we have Chirayu. And Chirayu finished his undergrad in electrical engineering in 2017. He was the vice captain of the E-Baha team, and he was also a founding member of that team at Nirma. And currently he's working as an electrical design engineer in R&D field in Mflux Motors at Bangalore. Then we have Rushi. So Rushi also finished his undergrad in mechanical in 2017. So Rushi actually did 4 internships in 4 different domains, and he also did a bunch of NPTEL courses, and all of that he'll tell you further helped him get a job. He also published a paper. So if you have questions about how to publish uh, when you are in undergrad, you can ask those to him. Next, we have Viral. Viral did electrical engineering at Nirma and finished it in 2017. Um, Viral actually got a paid internship at Mflux Motors through Internshala, and that is he's actually the first person I know who got a paid internship, because for us even finding an internship was kind of difficult. So if you are not in your final year and you want to do an internship or find a paid internship, contact Viral. You can ask him questions. He got selected in campus interview in a bunch of companies, TCS, Infosys, Cognizant, and then he joined TCS. And right now he's working as a data engineer in Principal Global Services in Pune. So he switched from core to kind of non-core. So any questions related to that, you can ask him. Next, we have Dipesh, who did electrical engineering at Nirma and graduated in 2018. He's a founding member of the team Aero, the Aero Design Club at Nirma. And after finishing at Nirma, he's doing MTech in electrical engineering at IIT Gandhinagar. And he also has a strong publication record with like 4 research papers. Next, we have Jaideep. Jaideep did mechanical engineering from Nirma and finished in 2017. Jaideep was one of the toppers in his batch, and he got an A plus in like all the maths classes. And Jaideep actually appeared for the 8 companies, eight placement like companies for placement at Nirma, and he cleared all the aptitude tests really easily. So he'll be able to give us pointers on how to do that. And right now he's working at Nyara Energy in Jamnagar. After that, we have Ruthvi. Ruthvi did civil engineering at Nirma and she finished in 2019. So, along with civil engineering, she did a minors in corporate finance and a diploma in interior design. She also founded 2 startups and is in the HR committee of a mechanical based firm. And currently, she's working at Elegant Conception. And she has a lot of uh, like entrepreneurial skills, and she'll be really helpful in guiding us with those skills today. And lastly, we have Umang. Umang did chemical engineering at Nirma and finished in 2018. And he's currently working as a senior executive with Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited. And he's in the sales and marketing department. At Nirma, Umang did a lot of extracurricular activities, including like he was a part of the cricket team, he was a part of the Baha team, uh, and he was also in the entrepreneurship cell. He did a lot of NGO work, and all of that also helped him like get a job and also work at the job. So he will be able to share his experience with extracurricular activities and how you can show those as the skills that you got for your job interviews. So we can start with the first part, and these are the common questions that we have received from all of you, and we decided that the most common questions should be answered in the beginning. So to start with the first question, so first, a lot of people wanted to know about the importance of internships. So I think Dipesh, can you answer related to this?
Yeah, sure. So, in while appearing BTech, I guess all of you are from BTech. So this is like the first degree which we are looking at. And when we sit in the internships, it is the fresher. So we are considered to be freshers. Freshers means that we do not have any experience of any kind of job, be it R&D or be it R&D or industrial job. So internships give the recruiter a sense that you are somewhat familiar with the industrial environment or the kind of environment that is associated or you will be exposed to when you go to your job. So it helps to create an impression in the recruiter's mind that you are familiar with the environment and you will be able to handle things better as compared to others if you show the relevant internships. But you should be careful about showing the right kind of internship experience. I mean, let us say if you are appearing for an R&D based job and if you are showing an internship at production house, so it won't matter a lot. But if you are appearing for a manufacturing based firm and if you show a similar internship experience, then it can be a boost. It can be a major boost to your resume, and there are high chances of being recruited. So showing internship is not important, but showing the right internship at the right place is important. If you don't have the right internship, you can show the important or relevant aspects of your internship. Like you might have done many things at your internship, but you might showcase only those things which are important. So so you might only show those things which are important. So this way you can highlight the importance of internships. If you it is not that some company should come at your college or your parents should have contacts to get you placed at relevant companies, but you can but there are a couple of other platforms like Internshala or LinkedIn or some similar platforms which you can utilize yourself to fetch a relevant internship for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Dipesh. Could you also follow up with the importance of projects and research papers?
Yeah, sure. So projects basically, first of all, I would like to highlight the importance of project. So when you write any project on your resume, so what does it show to the recruiter? It shows to the recruiter that how well have you been able to manage the tasks which have been assigned to you. So if you talk about research paper or a project, first let us get into research paper. So when you talk about research paper or when you are writing a research paper, there is an entire process. First, you have to identify an area of interest. Then you have to do a literature review. Followed by this, you have to find a research gap and show some contributions, some novel contributions, which you can propose to write a research paper. So all these things are relevant if you are applying for an R&D job or a design based job. But if you are applying for a production unit or manufacturing based job, having or not having a research paper would not matter a lot. Similar goes with the projects. So you should make it a point to show projects which are similar to the job profile which you are appearing for. Showing irrelevant projects to a particular job profile is simply a waste of time to you as well as to a recruiter. So you should always make it a point to show relevant projects or relevant research papers. So in a nutshell, if you are applying for a R&D based job or a design based job where some kind of research exposure is expected, in those jobs, research papers would make a difference. And if you are having a research paper in some conference or a journal, it would be good, but it won't matter much in a production job or a job which is highly oriented towards industrial settings. And projects, I think I've already answered that you should always try to show projects which are relevant to the job profile which you are applying for. I mean, you might have done some 15 or 20 projects in your BTech, but you don't need to show it all. You only need to show whatever is relevant to that specific job profile. Thank you.
Thank you, Dipesh. That was helpful, I hope. And so now the next question is how to select elective subjects and minor degree. And I think I'll give it to Rushi. Please answer this.
Uh, Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Sure.
So first of all, as the name clearly specifies, electives. So electives are optional courses for study, subjects which are mandatory but not specific. It's like one of those rarest moments when you get an option or freedom of choice. So proper selection of electives are very essential to specialize into a particular subdomain or a subject in your stream. So keep in mind these 4 points, which will help you in the selection of electives. So in the very first year of engineering, we are being taught all the engineering basic subjects, but from the very second or third semester, we enter into stream specific subjects. So we may get to know what subject or substream in our field is there towards which we are inclined. So our interest or inclination is the very first point. Second, being the field that you want to pursue in future or streams that you want to enter. For example, for mechanical engineers, we can opt many career paths in future, like uh, career in automobile sector, robotics, mechatronics, manufacturing, R&D, design and development, research and refrigeration, air conditioning, CFD, fluid system, etc. So you can select an elective in order to improve your knowledge in that particular field and leverage your skill set during your campus placements. Thirdly, there are some class of students who have some dream companies that they want to go into. So they can research about the field in which their dream company is working and accordingly select electives in order to make their profile and resume look stronger in that field. And the last but not the least, the fourth point is that, it is a very important point, but very less people care about it, is that we can select our electives in such a way that it enhances our knowledge in that field that we're interested into. So keep in mind these 4 points during the selection of electives, and you will really enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rushi. Rushi, can you also follow up with how to the next question, which is how to draft a company-specific resume?
So yes, thank you, Mansi. First of all, we all know how important resume is. A resume is your first impression. Keep that in mind first. Your resume reaches the interview hall before you reach there. So we all know there is a principle in economics that supply should be equal to demand, and the needs of consumers should be fulfilled in order to achieve customer delight. In similar way, you should frame your structure your resume that it fulfills the demands of your recruiters. So the very first point is search and research about the company. What products do they make? What skill set is required for that particular job? What is the valuation of the company? Where are its locations? What is their vision and mission? This will help in two things: to show your panel that you're really interested in their company, and to draft your resume in such a way that it reflects your skill set, which they want in the person they are hiring. So you can also talk to your seniors or alumni who are currently working in that company to know in brief about the roles of the company that the company provides. For example, L&T was the first company that visited our campus for placement. We all know that it's an Indian engineering and technology multinational conglomerate. So I researched about the background of company and the role engineers are given in it. Accordingly, I drafted my resume in such a way that it reflected the skills in production engineering and manufacturing and designing. So we have to find out the relevant data, which helps in interview as well as structuring your resume. Lastly, to clarify, which are the information in your resume that you can modify to make it company specific. It is subject of interest, your electives list, your internship role, your skills, any research paper or publications in that field, your extracurricular activities that align with the vision and mission of the company. So when you draft your resume, keep these points in mind. Just do this time and see the wonders. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Rushi. So next is like how can we make extracurriculars a plus point? And the best person to answer this is definitely Umang. So Umang, could you answer this one?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So before we answer this question, I want you to think of a question that is, what does a company look for in an individual or a potential employee, right? So I think a lot of us will agree that they're looking at someone who has a sound technical knowledge and At the same time, the person should have excellent people skills, because any company that you look at, the corporate ladder will look something like this. You enter at an engineer position, you gradually move on to becoming an assistant manager, and then you move up the ladder to higher upper management position. So they're looking at employees who are good managers, right? Now, to be a good manager, you have to have those certain soft skills, right? And the only way to get those soft skills is by you can develop them by participating in extracurricular activities. This won't happen in the classroom. You'll have to move out. You'll have to do stuff, right? So when I say that soft skills are required, I'm mentioning some of the skills that the interviewers are looking at. They're looking at the interpersonal skills, the leadership skills. They're looking at the problem solving abilities, your networking abilities, how you're managing time. So all this stuff they're looking at, when they're deciding on a candidate. So when you put out the extracurricular stuff that you did during your bachelor's in your resume, it will show the interviewer that this person has those skills. Apart from that, we have so many presentations during our engineering course, right? So take those presentations seriously. Try and utilize those presentations to improve your communication skills. And when I say communication skills, I'm emphasizing equally on the verbal as well as the non-verbal communication. So non-verbal communication, how you're presenting yourself, how you're speaking, how you're dressing, all of these little things matter a lot. Lastly, I'm saying, when I say extracurricular, I'm not pushing you to join a particular club. What I mean is do whatever you enjoy. It could be sports, it could be arts, whatever you feel you're passionate about, pursue that along with the engineering course. And just to sum it up, get involved as much as you can and try to enjoy your college life, and it will count. So, yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Umang. So our next question is how to crack aptitude tests. And Jaideep, you have really good experience with that. So could you answer this one?
Oh, thank you, Mansi. So talking about very first step of placement procedure. Hello.
Audible.
Yes, you're audible, JD.
So talking about the very first step of placement procedure, cracking of aptitude is very easy. Just it's require a logical thinking and some exercise. So start preparing right now because most of companies first phase is the aptitude test. So here are a few tricks you can apply in the exam. So very first one is try to apply concept rather than the lengthy formulas. Like in the case of cumulative interest finding, if you have asked for only 2 years, so you can calculate by 1 year rather than applying a long formula. Then second step is you can substitute option in the question itself, and you can eliminate the options that you have seen in KBC and many MCQ type competitions. So here are things which you can apply during the exam, but what you can do now. So just go through the all type of question, all type of concept, like be it profit and loss, be it average, time work, and percentage. You can easily find it from the RS Agrawal book or websites like India Geeks, Prep Insta. You can go through online quizzes also. And second one is develop puzzle solving skills, because some companies might require the out of the thinking type question, like you have seen in GRE papers. So these puzzle solving skills also helps to solve the question which you have not came across. So, and third one is last important, that many companies don't change their question paper style. So try to go through previous year's questions. So that's all about my from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaideep. So our next question is, what are the ways to target off-campus companies? And Chirayu, could you answer this one?
Hello. Yeah,
Yes,
Mansi,
you are
I'm
audible.
I'm audible. Okay. So basically, the ways to target how to target off-campus company. Basically, it is a complete process. So if a student should follow the process, it will definitely get into the companies through off-campus. So basically, first step you can say you have to build an online profile identity in any networks, in any platform. Like LinkedIn or maybe online job portals, you have to register over there. So after that, like where you can show your actual work, what you have done in your BTech, actually your extracurricular activities, your projects, what you have done in your coursework, your research, if you have done any research and you have published in some renowned or platforms like IEEE and all. After that, like or any online courses if you have followed with in your coursework. So these are the things which you have mentioned over there, online profile, in your online profile, where people can recognize you with some like your course curriculum or your extracurricular activities. After that, like after building after showing all these things into the profile, you can follow, actually you can make a connections, a good network of professional connections, where you can actually approach people, people of your interest, like if you have field, and where you can get in touch with your HR of your companies. And LinkedIn has very good section of job finding, and you can search over there. Companies literally post their job vacancies or roles and responsibilities, so it's a very good thing to opt that option. So basically you can do that thing as well. And after that, like you can show your skill sets over there. And after that, you can search as well as your company. You can explore a lot of companies, your field of interest companies, whether it's established company or it's startup. If you want to work in R&D specific version, like a company, then you can go for particular sector, and you can ask them, you can get in touch with them, and you can actually work like that. So and also you can show internships also, your the projects. And after that, like most of the cases like that,
Chirayu, we cannot
that
hear you
also.
properly.
And
Could you repeat?
hello. Yeah, so you can explore. Hello, am I
Yes, we
audible
can hear
now?
you now. Yes.
Yeah, so basically, you can explore companies. You can, whether it's startup or whether it's established company. You can follow the through HRs, through posts, and you can do some. You can apply through that platform. You can show their internships, and as well as you can get pre-placement offer as well if you are not getting directly. So these are the main points to target off-campus companies. Also, you can go for the off-campus pool drives, which most of the companies will like actively post on the platforms like that only. And there are other platforms as well, as like Elitmus, maybe the CoCubes, and you can say MCATs, where you have to just give a test, and you can after giving that test, you company will shortlist, and company will approach to you, and you can give the further process for the company, for the relevant companies. So that's it more from my side, Mansi.
Thank you, Chirayu. So now, since civil engineering has a different kind of roadmap compared to other branches, Rutvi, can you please share the roadmap for civil engineering?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mansi. So, hi guys. Let's start with the basics. What is the difference between a commoner and an engineer? Engineer is someone who can analyze the problem step by step, not haphazardly, and can resolve it methodically. Okay, and all of you have already achieved that step. So, I would like to say what is the current scenario. You would be thinking that due to COVID, the money in market is quite less, but let me tell you, it is not so. And I have had a great deal, few days back, like in crores. So that's not the case. Indian government is currently quite positive for infrastructure development and is focusing on affordable housing. Okay. So banks are also financing housing loans easily and at very low interest rates. So that is about the current scenario. These are the basic questions that you must know answers to for a proper decision making. Okay. So first question is decide that you are a tech person or a non-tech person. Okay. You need to be very clear. If you have managerial skills, go for the non-tech part. And if you want to do consultation and stuff, you can also have the tech part, right? The next question is get a job or become an entrepreneur. So if you want a constant salary, okay, then you can have opt for job. If you want no upper limit for earning, you can opt for entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur. Next is you want to practice in India or abroad. You have to be quite clear from second or third year itself. If not, if you're late, that's fine, you can still decide, but wrong decisions can be very harmful. So please write down answers to these. Okay, if you want to go to abroad, which course will you be taking? You should be knowing that in 10 years down the road, which course will have more value. Like for civil engineering, it would be BIM, sustainability, infrastructure management, CPM, etc. So do that research. What will be the market in 10 years down the road? Okay. And lastly, be jack of many pots and master of one. So only BTech civil engineering is not enough. Let me tell you, you need to have other commercial skills, maybe in accounting, learn Tally ERP 9, or just opt for minors in corporate finance or anything of the sort. Join internships, even that is fine, right? So these are the few things. This will help you to take decisions later on. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you, Mansi.
Thank you, Rutvi. So our next question is what to do if you have low pointers. And Praharsh, I think you are the right person to answer this one.
Okay, so hello everyone. Actually, the question that I'll be dealing with, I hope not many people need to deal with this particular question in their college life. But it's okay if you have low pointers. Just for cheering you up, I'll share my own experience. When the placement started, that is from the seventh sem, I had a CGPA of 6.77. I had IFs in 3 subjects. Still, I was able to score a paid internship for for the 8th semester, and as well as actually my area of interest was technical. So the highest paying job for technical area was the one that I got into, that is in Suzuki Motors Gujarat. Okay, so enough of the cheer talk. Now let's get to reality. You have got some bad records, you have some arrears, so it is gonna be tough. So you need to follow some basic steps. And as some of my friends already suggested, it all starts with the resume. You need to draft a company specific resume, do proper research on the company background, what role are they offering, why are they offering it, what can you provide to the company. It's not about your concerns or your growth when the company is concerned for the short term. So you need to show the company how valuable you are. Also, one thing that I want to stress upon is that after BTech, when you are appearing, the companies are not searching for a purely technical role. They are searching for a techno managerial job that requires other managing soft skills as well, like vocational skills or extracurricular skills that are very well covered by my friend Uma. So develop on those two. Once you get into the interview, the way you behave in the interview and the way you showcase yourself, you showcase your talents will be more important rather than how many pointers you have scored or what is your academic records. Till you don't get into the interview, maybe that would be a wall or barrier that you may have to pass. But once you are in, then you just need to show how talented you are to get in. Also, even though you don't have a target of GATE or GRE or CAT or anything, I would suggest that you try as many aptitude and verbal questions as possible, because that is the only way you will be cracking those aptitude tests And believe me, with the number of chances that we will be getting, it is very crucial that you clear each one of those. Also, stay updated on LinkedIn, because let's know if, hello. Okay, so stay updated, maintain a good LinkedIn profile, because even till now, I know LinkedIn is one of the strongest platforms for showcasing yourself. And also, even though you don't know it, whenever you are going to appear for an interview, the day before that or the same day, the HR or some other person from the company always has a look at your LinkedIn profile so that he or she gets to know better about you. So please maintain a good LinkedIn profile and keep it up to date with your recent advances. Also, don't be afraid. Appear for as many opportunities as available, may it be on campus or off campus. Know in detail about the procedure that the particular company is following, whether it is aptitude test followed by a direct interview, or is it aptitude test followed by GD and subsequent interview. What is the exact process? Just know that process and then follow it accordingly. Lastly, internships play a very important role. Discussing about my own experience, my interview for Suzuki Motor Gujarat, in that they stressed upon my internship very much. Like, they were interested in knowing what technical value did I add into the internship, what did I get to learn from that internship. So be very technically sound and clear on a resume. Don't add anything that you don't know about. And just this is that all that I have for you. Get your concepts clear. It's all that matters when you get in. Okay, best of luck.
Thank you, Praharsh. And the last question is really relevant during the current pandemic. So, how to tackle placement problems during COVID-19? And Shail, could you please answer this?
Yeah, thanks, Mansi. So with regards to placements and COVID-19, I would say that, majority of the sectors in the economy, they are now on a recovery path, right? Except for some sectors like automobile or hospitality. So companies are now on a recovery path, and it will just take like 1 or 2 months for them to get back at a similar stage to where they were before during the pre-COVID-19 scenario, right? So because of this, there can be a different kind of effect on your placement process. I mean, certainly there will be a backlash on your placement process, but in a different format, I must say. So for example, a company which used to come in September or August will now defer the placement process and may now come in your college in November or December now. And some companies may follow the same timeline which they were following earlier, right? So what happens is that you now have more time with you to prepare for those companies. Apart from it, as you mentioned, like, you are studying from home, right? So the time which you were spending earlier from going to college from home and coming back and spending time in your college, that time again you are saving. So rather than COVID-19 affecting your placement, I would say COVID-19 will affect your preparation strategy, your placement preparation strategy, right? And because you have more time at your disposal, I would advise certain 3-4 points to you, which you should keep in mind so that you can use this time judiciously and efficiently, right? So the first thing which I guess you guys should do is that reach out to your college placement coordinator, placement office, to the immediate seniors which have passed out, and also to the friends who are in other colleges like LD, PDPU, and maybe LJ or something like that, to know which companies are coming for the placement process, which companies have come for the placement process in the previous years in your college as well as in the other colleges, and try to read about those companies. What are those companies making? How did they tackle, or how did they deal with the COVID-19 scenario? What is the placement process of those companies? So let's say in the future, when those companies come to the college, or if you are going for an off-campus placement, then you already have the knowledge about those companies and the knowledge about placement process of those companies. That in a way will boost your confidence and will also save your time at that point in the future. Second thing is do some online courses from Coursera or Udemy. I think Dipesh has covered that you should do some relevant projects, and Rushi has also covered that the skill sets which you acquire should be relevant to your profile. Similarly, the courses which you do should also be relevant to your profile, or make sure that you are interested in it so that they give you an edge over others when you are going for the interview and looks good on your CV. Third point is like people have already covered about making a profile on LinkedIn and reaching out to the seniors and other people for internship perspective. And the fourth thing which I would suggest, that if none of the above things work out, reach out to your college professors and seek their help, for if they can give any kind of, if you can give any kind of assistance to them in their projects or something like that, I think that will be a very good utilization of your time if none of the things work out. And I think the professors will be more than happy to help you out in this case. Yeah, so that was all from my side. Mansi, over to you.
Thank you, Shail. So I'll go back to question 9, which we have received a lot. And also I see a couple of people asking the same in the chat, which is how to switch from core to non-core. And Viral, can you please answer that?
Sure, Mansi. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So before I start, I just want to inform you that I'm not going to compare or focus which is better, core or non-core. And also believe that you are aware what does core and non-core mean. So let's focus on point which we need to take care. So I want to reiterate some points which we have already covered earlier, but it's very important if we are switching to non-core. Okay. So first thing we need to do is we need to research about the company and job profile. I know that's already covered, but the thing which is important here is that job profile give information about the skills which are required for that job. And second thing is that this is a COVID world. Okay. You might be applying for jobs yourself. So you wanted to highlight here that a company can be a core company, but a job profile which might not be related to core. For example, if there is a chemical company, right, they have their own marketing or operations or IT division. So they are hiring for that profile. So you should not be missing those opportunities. The second point which I wanted to highlight here is that try to understand their business or try to gain the domain knowledge. It will give you an advantage, an edge over. It will keep you ahead in the competition. Third point is that you should understand that vision, mission, and the goals, and the most important thing is the core values. So you can try to align your CV, resume, and the answers which you're going to cover in the interview during the course of interview. It should be in aligned with their core values, because the companies is going to judge you on your behavior skills, all the skills. Okay. The important skills which we need to focus on are your communication skills, your problem solving skills, your behavior skills. Along with this, your ability to learn and unlearn, and ability to adapt, and aptitude. It's very important thing. Okay. Show them that you have the skills during the course of interview. Now, since companies will not judge you on your core subjects, hence they will focus on an advantage. Not advantage, but disadvantage you can see is here that working in a core company involves direct application of your academic subject. But here you need to, in non-core, scratch, right? So hence the ability to learn and unlearn is very important. Also, you might be asked related to your projects and internships, so prepare it thoroughly, as it will show you how serious you're related to your work and if you have done it yourself or not. As interviews are judging a person, okay, keeping this thing in mind. Since there are many portals available, try to learn non-core skills. There can be anything, like if you're interested in data science, cloud, digital marketing, which is hot topics right now. So try to keep yourself updated and practice online more and more wherever you can. Okay, so that's it from my side.
Thank you, Viral. I guess we'll end the session here. And thank you all for joining us. We know it's late, but hey, you're Nirma students, nothing is late. So hope we answered all your questions, and feel free to contact any of us at any time. Thank you.
Thanks, Mansi. All the best, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all the alumni for being here as well.